Imagine you encountered some production issues in your project. All of a sudden, you'll realize that your senior manager, testers, everybody in the team is then bombarded with a lot of emails. There will be an emergency meeting as well, and the manager will ask the developer and the tester point blank questions. Why did you not develop for this test case? And the tester will be asked, why did you not test this test case? And this is common in spite of so many root cause analysis and in spite of the best interests from all the teams, these production issues are very common. Now, the problem is not getting these production issues because there are always some or the other workarounds. But the problem I'm speaking about here is why are the developers and testers always thrown under the bus? In this video, I'm going to talk about 5 issues that Indian IT sector employees face because of their managers. And also, what are the reasons for these issues and how can the employees tackle some of these issues? So let's get started with the first and the most important one, which is the communication challenges of the managers itself. We as a nation are never ever told to emphasize on public speaking. Communication is always an afterthought, and hence we need to communicate something harsh or something good, something bad. We just do it the way we know. For example, if the manager is trying to tell something technical to the employee, the manager will say after 3 or 4 times, hey, how many times should I tell you? But that's not the right way. If you want to really maintain that good relationship with the employee, the manager has to change the tone and say, I did my level best to explain this to you. Did you get it? Do you have any more questions? It's exactly the same thing that the manager is asking, but the tone of the conversation itself changes completely. And I do not know, because we are not emphasizing communication right from our childhood, can this change all of a sudden versus not? No. And that's the reason why a lot of people leave their managers, not because they are not intelligent or they are dumb, but they leave because they just are not treated properly. And there comes the choice of the words. The second main issue that the employees face because of the managers is that these managers are never trained on management related topics. They are gradually growing in the industry through 10 to 15 years of experience on the technical side. So they don't know how to manage people, how to treat people, how to make sure they are solving for people challenges. They have known a particular skill, but now they are trying to do a completely different job. What they believe is people management is all about asking the employees to fill their timesheets or shouting at an employee if something goes wrong. But unfortunately, that is not the case. If you want to excel at something, you need to get the relevant training. You need to experience those situations in a non-risky environment, such as an educational institution. So please do not deprioritize learning anything if you want to excel in that field. The third challenge that we face is because the managers act in self-interest. Well, all the IT sector employees or any corporate employee, of course, they work for their own career growth. If somebody is saying that, hey, I'm only working for a company's growth, then please don't believe them. You tell me in the comments box if you are working for your company's growth primarily or your own career growth. Which one do you prioritize? Obviously, we all prioritize our own growth, but the problem happens when the managers also do the same, because if they want to grow, if they don't want any kind of stains on their career, on their experiences, they will easily throw their subordinates under the bus. And that's a huge problem. Managers need not prioritize the company, but managers at least should prioritize their own teams, because people again leave managers. And it becomes easy when manager is just prioritizing the team, because wherever they go, their teams typically follow them. And this acting in the self-interest is one of the biggest issues in the corporate world. The fourth issue, the role of the manager itself is very ambiguous. Nothing is well defined. Typically, what do you expect a manager to do? Number 1, forecast. Think about what are the upcoming needs in the project. Set up deadlines. Make sure there are certain KPIs that the entire team is following. Also, make sure there is some kind of buffer time period so that if things go wrong, they have some time to correct them. This is ideally the role of any manager. But do you see any manager actually focusing on forecasting the requirements? Nope. Otherwise, we will not have teams where all of the entire team members are working through a weekend. 70 to 80-hour weeks would not be necessary if the manager is just thinking about what is the right thing for the team, what can go wrong, and if they just have that buffer zone. And unfortunately, we are still thinking only about what is it that we need to do as a team right now. The fifth issue the employees face because of the managers is just because of the culture itself. We have developed this entire IT sector based on one simple mantra, that is cost arbitrage. That we can get employees for a cheaper price in India compared to the same kind of work that can be done in the US or any other developed nation. Cost arbitrage has become the biggest differentiating factor. Unfortunately, why can't we do it as innovation arbitrage? We have a lot of young people who can think differently, who can act differently. We can basically take head, understand what their thoughts are, and say that that is the differentiating factor of this company. Nobody tries to do that, and managers will easily say, you will become a manager someday or the other, then why don't you implement these things? And the other part is that because of our culture itself, we believe that we are slaves. We are basically there to serve the Western world. And what happens if there is a mistake? Then everybody is just bombarding. Yes, mistakes do happen, but at least the attitude should be right. The conversations should be positive about how to improve and not just about why did somebody do these things wrong. And these are some of the issues, the most common issues that IT sector faces because of the way it is set up over the last 30 years. Now, if you are an IT sector employee, what can you do? The first thing that I would recommend, just make sure that you don't take these things to heart. If you are not somebody who cannot ignore these things, then leave that place.
I quit.
Both of them are decent options. You either ignore or you move on. The second thing that I would recommend is, if you find a place that you really enjoy, don't leave that place just for a matter of few lakhs. Somebody else is paying little more, so I'll shift my job. Please do not have that attitude, because these things can make a lot of difference in your long-term career. People keep changing jobs, and when they don't like a certain job and when they can't move on from that point in time, there are mental breakdowns, and it will take good 1 to 2 years to recover from these mental breakdowns. So why waste your time later? Why give up on that salary later when you yourself can settle for a great workplace environment today? So don't ignore these things. Never just prioritize salary, and only you will realize that the more time you spend in this industry, the more complex it will appear and the more challenges you will start to face. Hence, stick to a place which you really love. Thank you so much, guys. Hope this is helpful. Do let me know if you have any questions, and I'll try to continue making videos along the same lines going forward. See you again. Bye bye.